Hey everyone, this is Pallavi, and today we are diving into the 29th game of the book, The Most Instructive Games of Chess Ever Played by Irving Chernev. This game was played between Isaac Kashdan and Herman Steiner in Pasadena in 1932, and the opening played was Coal System. The title of the game is A Pawn is a Pawn is a Pawn, which means that every pawn matters, there are no small pawns in chess. Isaac Kashdan was one of the strongest American players of his era, renowned for his precise technique and outstanding endgame play. He was especially respected for turning the smallest advantages into wins through clear plans and accurate execution. His opponent, Herman Steiner, was a strong master, writer, and organizer best known for his clear instructional approach. Steiner played a major role in American chess, helping spread classical strategic ideas through both his games and his writing. Win a pawn early and turn it into a full point. That's the mindset of a modern master. In this game, Kashdan does exactly that. The position resists, complications arise, but the way he handles them is a true masterclass in technique. So without further ado, let's begin. So white started with d4. Black played knight f6, knight f3, and then d5, and then white played e3, the coal system. E6, bishop to d3, and then knight b d7, knight b d2, and then bishop e7, and now white played queen to e2. Now this move prepares e4, the key pawn break in the coal. Playing e4 opens up the position, and finally frees white's queenside pieces, allowing them to become active. After queen e2, black played c5, attacking the central pawn, c3, black castled, and then white also castled on the king side, b6. Now white played e4. Black captured, d takes e4. This continuation is more or less forced. If black tries c takes d4, white replies with e5, a pawn advance that is almost always good for white because it drives away the knight, one of the key defenders of black's castled king. After knight e8, white recaptures with c takes d4 and then follows up with rook to d1, knight f1, and knight g3. With these natural developing moves, white builds pressure, activates the pieces, and ends up with the superior position. So after e4, black captured, d takes e4, and now white played knight takes e4. Bishop to b7, rook d1. White now builds pressure that can be felt along the entire file, and one concrete threat illustrates this very clearly. If white plays knight takes f6, check. Black is almost forced to reply bishop takes f6 because capturing knight takes f6 does not work because of d takes e5. Now white wins a pawn. Black must constantly worry about losing the queen after bishop takes h7 check. So after knight takes f6, black will have to play bishop takes f6 and then d takes e5. B takes e5, bishop to b5 attacking the d7 knight, and then bishop c8 supporting it. Bishop e3 and then queen c7. If instead bishop e7, then bishop takes d7, bishop takes d7, knight e5, and now the bishop is pinned and cannot escape, and the bishop is lost. So queen c7, then bishop takes d7, bishop takes d7, and then bishop takes c5 simply wins another pawn. So that's the idea. So here, after rook d1, white plans to play knight takes f6. So black played queen c7. The queen steps aside. Bishop g5, developing the bishop, rook f e8. Now if had black captured knight takes e4, then bishop takes e7, rook f e8, bishop goes back to h4. White keeps his long range bishops. So this is quite good for white. So black here played rook f e8. Now White captured d takes c5. First step, on the queen side, which white achieves a pawn majority with 3 pawns facing black's 2, creating a long-term advantage. Now black captured bishop takes e4. White also captured bishop takes e4. If instead c takes b6, then bishop takes d3, queen takes d3, knight takes b6, black gains a piece. So bishop takes e4, and then black captured knight takes e4. White captured queen takes e4. Now black captured knight takes c5, attacking the queen. Queen to c4, bishop captured g5, knight captured g5. Even in this simplified position, tactical dangers still exist. Black has to be very careful to prevent b4, followed by queen e5, attacking the knight, knight f3, queen e4, and then rook d4. In this line, the queen is driven away and black's knight is left without protection and is ultimately lost. So after knight takes g5, now black played queen e7, knight moved back to f3. The position has simplified, says Kashdan. White's plan is to use a queenside pawn advantage, push those pawns and create a passed pawn or a weak target to attack. Black could try the same on the king side, but that would risk his king and leave it too far away in the endgame. That's why a queenside pawn majority is such a valuable advantage. Now, black played rook e d8, knight d4, and black played queen to h4. If instead rook is c8, then b4, attacking the knight. Now knight a4 is a mistake because of knight c6. Now there are two variations. If black plays queen to c7, then rook takes d8 check, king takes d8, b5. Now the queen is attacking the a4 knight, knight b2, queen e2, and black loses either b2 or the d8. And after knight c6, if black plays rook takes d1 check, rook takes d1, queen takes queen c7, then knight e7 check, king f8, knight takes c8, queen takes c4, and then rook d8 is a checkmate. So after black's actual move, queen h4, he threatens to play e5, winning the pinned knight. So white played queen to e2, rook ac8, a4. The second step, white pushes the queenside pawns whenever the position allows. Now black played queen f6, b4, knight d7, knight b5, supporting c3, attacking a7 on and also eyeing the square on d6. Now black played knight f8. If black tries to win the c pawn by playing a6, then knight d6, rook takes c3, and then knight e4, white wins the exchange. So black played knight f8, white played queen e3, protects the c pawn and threatens to win a pawn by rook takes d8, rook takes d8, and then knight takes a7. Now black played a6. White went knight d6, rook b8. The rook moves away. If black had captured rook takes e3, then knight e4, rook takes queen on e3, knight takes queen on f6 with a check on the king, and then g takes f6, f takes e3, winning for white. Rook b8. Then white played rook d2, queen e7, and then the other rook comes in, rook a d1, doubling up on the d file and supporting the knight on d6. Queen c7, and now white played c4, the third step. White continues pressing forward to create a passed pawn. Now black played rook to d7, queen c3, h6. And now white played knight e4. The idea behind this move is to prepare c5 so that if black responds with b takes c5, white can recapture with the knight instead of a pawn. This is important because it keeps white's remaining pawns together and avoids splitting them, making the pawn structure stronger and easier to advance later. So after knight e4, now black played rook takes d2. White capture rook takes d2, black played rook c8. Knight d6 supporting c4 and also attacking the c8 rook, rook d8. Now white played a good move, c5. Now here black played a blunder, which is queen c6. Instead, b takes c5 was better with correct continuation, like queen takes c5, then queen takes c5, b takes c5. White creates a strong passed pawn, but black can stop it by rook d7, then rook pawn to c6, rook to c7, rook c2, e5, knight e8, rook c8, and it's equal. And if white continues with c7, then knight e6 is slight better for black. So after c5, black played a blunder, which is queen c6. Now you can pause the video and find the good move for white. This is a blunder for black. So here, the correct move was knight f5. But white played queen f3. The move is strong, but Kashdan missed the immediate win by knight f5. Why? Why is it so important? Because here the knight is threatening. First of all, it's a checkmate threat on g7. Then this rook is under attack, a discovered attack, and also knight e7 is a fork. So it's completely winning for white, but white missed it. White played queen f3, and now black captured queen takes a4. Queen takes f7 check, king h7, and now white played h3, gives the king an escape square and sets a small trap. Now black played b takes c5. What was the trap? The trap was queen takes b4. If black had captured queen takes b4, then knight e4 discovers an attack on the rook and also threatens mate in 2 by knight f6 check and then king h8 and queen g8 checkmate. So that was the trap set by white. But black played b takes c5. Now white captured b takes c5, black played rook to b8. If queen a1 check, then king h2, queen e5 check, then f4, queen takes e5, and then knight e4, suddenly threatening black's here rook and the queen also, and also the king all at once. So after rook to b8, king h2, although rook d3 was better to attack from this way. So after king h2, black played knight g6, white played rook e2. Now, instead of rook e2, queen takes e6 was a blunder. Then queen f4 check, black wins the rook. So white did not capture the pawn, the free pawn. White played rook e2 and then black played rook f8 attacking the queen. Queen takes e6. Now the fourth step is white gains a pawn. Now black played queen f4 check. g3, queen d4, queen e3. But any 4 was better because it supports the c5 and f2 pawn, threatens to capture queen takes a6. But white played queen e3, black captured queen takes e3, f takes e3, because if rook takes e3 then rook takes f2 and black gains a pawn. So queen takes e3, then f takes e3, knight e5, king g2, a5, rook c2. This follows Tarash's rule. A rook belongs behind a passed pawn, behind the enemy pawn to attack it, and behind your own pawn to support its advance. So that's one of the golden rules. Place your rook behind a passed pawn. Knight c6. The ending is not easy. White's passed pawn is blockaded and the king is cut off. So only precise endgame play, something Kashdan excels at, can convert the win. So white played knight b5. The fifth step, preparing to remove the blockader. Rook d8. This stops white from playing knight d4 to chase away the knight, which is the blockader, since that attempt would lose a pawn. But white still played knight d4. The sixth step, white gives back the extra pawn to help the passed pawn advance. Knight takes d4. If instead of capturing the knight, black had played rook c8, then knight takes knight. On c6, rook takes c6, king f3, king g6, king d5, king f6, king e4, king f6, and now king d5, and the blockading rook is easily driven off. So after knight d4, knight takes d4, e takes d4, rook takes d4, and now white played c6, rook d8, king f3. Now that's a good move because pushing too soon would be a mistake. If white had played c7 instead, then rook c8, king f3, a4, king e4, a3, king d5, a2. White is forced to play rook takes a2 and the game ends in a draw after rook takes c7. So king f3 is a good move. Then black played a4. If had black had played king to g6, then king e4, king f6, c7, rook c8, king d5, king e7, king c6, a4, rook e2 check, king f7, and then king d7, simply winning for white. So after a4, now white played king to e4, a3, king e5. White now threatens a quick win with c7, followed by rook c8, and then king d6, and then king d7. So black played rook to d3. White pushed the pawn to c7, a2, rook takes a2, rook c3, king d6, rook d3 check, king c6, rook c3 check, king b7, rook b3 check, and now king a8. Rook c3, and now white played rook a7. This move builds a bridge for the king. And if now king g6, then king b8, rook b3 check, and then rook b7. And the king is safe from further checks. The passed one would then force black to give up the rook. So after rook a7, black resigned. So now let's look at some principles learned from this game, lessons learned from this game. Number one, small advantages matter. Even one extra pawn can decide the game if handled carefully. Number two, have a clear plan. White consistently played for a queenside pawn majority. Number three, pawn majorities are powerful. They help create passed pawns, especially in the endgame. Number four, passed pawns need support. Pieces and the king must help them advance. Number five, timing is critical. Pushing pawns too early can throw away the win. And number six, endgame technique wins. Precise play is needed even in simple positions. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something from this game as well. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and also share to show some support. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.